Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, my day was going completely fine until I looked at some of these posts you're about to see, and I can successfully say it was almost ruined. I have lost faith in the United States, and I understand why you guys have felt the same way for a long time. So before we get started and get into these US defaultism memes, make sure you guys like the video and subscribe if you haven't already. But before we get into that, you guys actually had some stuff that you said in my last video that I wanted to read because you guys have been cooking in that comment section. So go ahead and let me know what the craziest thing one of us Americans has told you guys. And let's get into this first comment that says, I'm probably going to get a lot of hate for this, but I've always thought of the USA as a third world country with a first world veneer on it. The amount of people living in severe poverty or barely surviving paycheck to paycheck for the richest country in the world is actually insane. Edit. Thank you so much for the likes, guys. I'm quite happy to see the comments below, but also sad that so many people agree as well. No matter where you live in the world, everyone should be able to live in peace and stability. Stay safe out there, guys. And this comment was absolutely cooking. It's insane. I feel conflicted on a daily basis because I'm like, on one hand, we claim to be this first world superpower, and in some aspects we absolutely are, but when you look into the infrastructure of how America is set up, USA ain't looking too hot. Okay, it ain't looking too hot. But there's another comment from one of you guys that actually says, when I lived in Thailand, an American kept saying the foreigners here. So when I said, so people like you and me, he kept correcting me saying, no, the foreigners, the Thai people. And I literally had to say, you are the foreigner here. This is their country. Yeah, that is actually mind-blowing to me because that happens here. I'm living in Korea right now, and a lot of people that I've, seen from America that are here have done that. They're like, oh yeah, man, the foreigners here are extra crazy and stuff. And I'm like, bro, you're probably the crazy one. I'm a foreigner too. We're foreigners together. This is Korea, brother. Like, we are the foreigners. What the fuck? Anyways, this next comment actually says, visited the US with my small children from Germany, was berated in a supermarket from a woman telling us not to speak Spanish in her country. Huh? Shocked, I said, we're German on a holiday in your country. She answered, I don't care where you are from, just stop speaking Spanish, speak American. What the hell? I'm confused because she just said she's traveling from Germany to the US, and this lady that she encountered was like, stop speaking Spanish. Is Spanish just like the default language for anything that's not English? Like, what is going on? We are German. We speak German, not Spanish. What I speak with my children in a country with free speech is my choice and none of your concern. But if you are unaware that Germans speak German, not Spanish, you're maybe so uneducated that you are unaware about the law of free speech in your own country. We are walking away from you now, and remember, everything you berate to us, we understand every word, but the huge joke you have become to me and my family, we will share in German, and you are none the wiser. Maybe get some education for yourself if it's available. She answered, I don't care about what third world country you come from. I answered, who is wealthy enough to take their family on a 4-week international holiday? You or me? Damn, she's cooking. She didn't have a comeback, and we left with me telling my children in English, that woman is the best example as to why mommy insists school is the utmost important part of your life. All I can say to that is I'm losing more faith in humanity, bro. Not in just humanity, but specifically in the United States. I've said some crazy things in my life, but I don't think I've said anything that was this out of the fucking ordinary. Whoever the lady was that unfortunately this traveler interacted with, it sounded like she got her head dribbled off the concrete a few times. Okay. Because, I mean, how are you going to tell somebody stop speaking Spanish when they're speaking another language? And B, why would you even berate someone for speaking a different language in the first place when they're not even talking to you? You're eavesdropping in on a conversation that has nothing to do with you. That is something that I see so often in America. It's insane. We have free speech on one side, but then turn around and go like, hey, you're in America, speak American. And I'm like, what? Where does it say speak English, by the way? American is not a language. I'm becoming more aware of how common this is, and I think that's what's concerning. It's a lot more common than I would care to acknowledge, right? I'm like, oh man, it's just onesies, twosies here or there, but I guess I'm understanding more and more why the United States has the reputation it has. Our first post says, another classic Reddit is an American site post. So Here it also says, it's not a statistical fact. 80% of custody cases are decided against men. There is a reason that states literally had to write laws where men can get custody to 50% or close to 50%, because what you're saying is absolutely not a statistical fact. The following comment underneath that says, this is some serious and incredible US defaultism. Now, underneath that, it actually says, you're on an American website where most of the users are American. Of course, the view is going to be from an American one. Now, if you want to talk about how the courts in Bahrain discriminate against mothers, I'd have to look into such a thing to see if it's true. But in the US, it's totally, oh my God, this bonehead didn't know how to fucking grammatically check what he wrote before he wrote it. Anyway, but in the US, it says it's here, totally isn't whatsoever. Underneath that, the reply is, oh wow, can't believe I finally get to make an original post. The tone deafness in this post is diabolical. First of all, it seems like this individual is saying that, okay, well, anybody that reads my comment has to assume that this is from America. People from all over the world use Reddit. It's diabolical to assume that only Americans or only a majority of Americans use Reddit. But people don't do the research, so it's kind of insane. So the comment section obviously had something to say, and our first comment here says, as an American, I'm also obligated to point out that they're lying through their teeth. There are no laws regarding custody. The court's understanding of familial roles, as well as society's perception of them, affected who got custody. There are laws stating where the child must go on cases of abuse, yes, as well as codes as to what abuse looks like and how to classify it, but say absolutely fuck all regards to custody time, and who gets primary custody. Parenting plans, custody plans are outlined by the court, not by the law. I have way too much experience with custody courts to let such blatant misinformation get spread so haphazardly. And that's one of the most common things that be happening worldwide, but specifically in America. It's easy for people in America to believe propaganda, especially when it's not research. We love to believe the first thing that comes across our eyeballs. All right, we're like, yeah, that's right. Yeah. Well, did you verify the information? Nope, that sounds about right. I do it. I literally do that. I currently still do that. So what I try to do is when I look at something that sounds a little ridiculous, I'm like, let me do some digging before I have a strong opinion on what this topic is. This second comment actually says, the self-centered attitude to go, this is an American website, is insane. Every time I see stuff like this, I'm like, come on, man, really? Are we doing this? Are we really doing this? This user over here actually said, how can people be such knobheads that they have to make everything about themselves? 94% of the world or something couldn't care less about the laws in the US. I'm telling you. And it's probably a higher percentage now that every country for the most part has issued a travel warning in regards to traveling to the United States of America due to, you know, our current administration's ICE/anti-immigration escapade. It's wild because even saying that out loud, it's not like people are immigrating to America en masse. People just want to visit the United States, but are met with weird situations like the German folk that were detained. They were tourists, by the way. They had all their paperwork, and just because America felt like it, they were detained for an obscene amount of time. Some people as long as a month, others on average about 2 weeks, and then returned to Germany. Why the hell are we doing that? That makes no sense, but I would just say the next 4 years, just X America off your list, because it is crazy over there right now. And of course, it is one of them posts, okay? It says, yeah, same drinking age everywhere, obviously. So it says, should the drinking age be lowered to 18? One thing that I think we should get in the habit of in general is context, including the context, okay? I mean, we don't have a lot to go off of. I'm not sure how many other countries actually have the drinking age as high as we have it, but you know, I didn't do my research, so I'll probably do that later. I kind of want to respond with should the drinking age be raised to 18, and see how people react. In my country, it can be as low as 14 in the right circumstances. Oh my God, you'd see so many Americans do backflips. And the thing is, most of us can't even leave the ground because, you know what I'm saying, our weight issues and shit. The next comment actually says, without context, this isn't defaultism. They could have responded to a post discussing the drinking age in the US. And that's what I'm saying. What I do notice with this subreddit is that some of the comments that are screenshotted and uploaded to this thread are out of context themselves. Like the screenshots are completely out of context. I need to see what the comment was responding to. But this next comment says, I feel like this subreddit often exaggerates when posting. Obviously, if this person's whatever socials that account mostly posts content from the USA and interacts mainly with Americans, then it doesn't take too long to realize what country they're talking about. My point is, you don't need to put warning talking about the US in everything you say. Context would be very much appreciated, but I guess what's happening now is people are just screenshotting random like statements from random people that happen to be from the United States and just throwing it in the subreddit. So it kind of poisons the well a little bit. The next post, however, does say, I'm not even sure what the American issue is at this point. Oh my God. Well, we have to dive into this post to see what they're talking about. And the post says, when a Spanish brand hires a Spanish actress and creates a campaign about women being not for male consumption, but now it's bad because they aren't aware of this 67th American issue that hasn't crossed the Atlantic unless you're super online. And then underneath that it says, I don't know how to pronounce this. Desigual could not have picked worse timing to release their Not a Doll campaign with Esther Exposition. I don't know who or what the hell this is, but let's look at the comments to see what's going on because I'm confused. And apparently this user is too, because this user is saying, so what's the issue? And it has 354 upvotes because that dude is just as confused as I am. What the frick is going on? So there's a response to this, and underneath this, the answer to this question is the term doll is used in certain circles, particularly Black queer people, to refer to trans women. The issue is that Americans think they are the center of attention and believe this niche term somehow has the same connotation in the rest of the world. And so they believe this Not a Doll movement might be accidentally interpreted as being transphobic. What the freak? I was confused. I'm like, what am I looking at right now, bro? Like, what am I looking at for real? Another commenter also had this to say, which was, don't forget that we Spanish use also negro as a normal word for black. Some deranged Americans had tried in the past to debate whether or not we should get rid of the word because it's offensive to them. Yeah, I also have never understood that. I'm like, dude, you have to understand other people's language is other people's language, and how they say things is just how they say things. If it sounds close to some stuff that we find offensive in our language, that's our problem. That's just our problem. You need to be more open-minded. People will not cater their language to you. Okay, that is such a self-centered thing to even think. Nobody has time for that, man. What the freak? Anyways, next comment says, wouldn't have understood this without people explaining it in these comments. The usage of dolls hasn't crossed the Atlantic. It's a bit like getting Reddit bans for talking about a traditional food product made by Mr. Brains in the UK on a British sub because in the US, its name is a homophobic slur, yet fanny pack is somehow fine. Yeah, it all boils down to who's in tune with the slang wherever the slang is used and stuff. On Reddit, it boils down to who owns the subreddit. If the person who owns the subreddit is from X country, then they're gonna have different rules that cater to, you know, what they find appropriate and vice versa. So yeah, this one was kind of weird. It was defaultism for sure, but I didn't even know that this was defaultism until I looked into the comments because I'm like, what the heck is going on? I don't even know what's happening right now. I'm pretty sure y'all didn't even know what the hell was going on until we started reading off these comments. But anyways, this next example is a defaultism post, okay? And it says, yes, world's most famous mascot. And you're probably wondering what this famous world's mascot is. And it is, according to this, Papa Fresh, Pillsbury, Mini Cinnies. how the Pillsbury Doughboy became the world's most famous mascot. Yeah, to assume that the Pillsbury Doughboy was the world's most famous mascot is definitely insane, because I mean, that definitely is an American mascot. What the fuck? Never seen that guy. Hey, listen, I can't blame you. I grew up with this mascot, but I'm from the United States, so obviously I would know what that is, but a lot of people from other countries wouldn't know what that is, because they have other mascots there for different food brands and whatnot that haven't made it to the United States. This next comment actually said, wouldn't the most famous mascot be a character like Mickey Mouse or Mario or even the Pringles guy? Yeah, I mean, you would think one of the more famous mascots would be something that's actively in most countries. I mean, Disney, right? If you just look at Disney and the primary Disney characters, Disney's been prominent in many, many, many countries. So it doesn't matter what language you speak, place you're from, whatever, you're gonna be able to identify at least Mickey Mouse, I think. I'm defaulting. Maybe people don't know who Mickey Mouse is. But this next comment actually says, I have never seen that thing before in my life or even heard of Pillsbury dough. It's not sold in the UK, or at least not in any numbers large enough for me to have ever seen an ad for it, nor a product on a shelf. Isn't Pikachu like almost objectively the most widely known mascot worldwide anyway? I didn't even consider that, but yeah, Pokemon is like extra global. All right, everybody loves them some Pokemon, and if you like Pokemon, you know who Pikachu is. By the way, there's a Pikachu behind me, but it's behind the Duolingo bird, so if you guys are also using Duolingo, just make sure you do your lessons, man. That bird attacked me the other day. Help me help. Our next post here says, the whole world needs to avoid flying. Huh? What do you mean by that? Life pro tip, avoid flying during the second week of May this year. On May 7th, Real ID compliant identification will be mandatory. Airports are sure to be clogged with people arguing with TSA. Yeah, so this is a stark example of US defaultism. This is what I was talking about earlier. You have a post, a life pro tip, LPT, in the Life Pro Tips subreddit, automatically assuming every single person in Life Pro Tips is from the USA, because starting the second week of May, if you don't have a real ID, TSA will hassle you, which by the way, I do not have a real ID, so looks like I'll be in Korea for a little bit longer. But what did the comment section have to say? Because you already know the comment section turned up twice. I genuinely unsubbed after seeing that. Almost the entire sub is just Americans acting like they're the entire world, and r/you should know is quite similar. I was going to comment because it popped up in my feed not long after being posted, but decided it wasn't worth it. You can't say shit about America not being the entire world without ending up with 100 downvotes and a dozen or two Americans whining at you about how actually we make up a lot of Reddit's traffic, so we can do that. That must be so frustrating. That honestly has to be so frustrating. I mean, it's borderline insufferable. Like, you just can't beef with trolls on the internet. And it's crazy because I can't even say that they're like trolling, really. They're just being themselves. And I was once in that same position. Honestly, after doing these videos though, I've been taking a step back and kind of thinking a little bit more before I just put stuff out there. Now, even in these videos that I have been doing and saying some things that are objectively US defaultism traits. Okay, so correct me in the comments if you see me saying some crazy shit, because I do be saying some crazy stuff. I'm just saying. I'm trying to learn more, as much about the world as possible, and I'm understanding that this is like a reflection of my country. I don't hate my country at all. I think we deserve the criticism we get, and I can at least sharpen my tools to be a little bit more proactive before I just go out there and make myself look fucking dumb. This next comment says, Auckland Airport is famously clogged by people arguing with TSA. It's just part of life now. I don't even know what Auckland Airport is, bro, but it's in New Zealand probably, because the commenter is from New Zealand, so that's crazy. The next commenter had this to say, it's probably better I avoid flying in the first week of May because people are traveling for Golden Week and it's packed everywhere and the cost of transport and accommodation is super high. The second week of May, right after that, is probably a pretty good time for a trip. Don't know what that got to do with me, but the next post, we got to get into this next post. But they operate in Alaska. Who operates in Alaska? What are we talking about? r/Papa John's. The top of this post says, sending this post to someone, it looks better when you share it. Underneath this, it actually says, guarantee you they are waiting on DoorDash. Underneath that, the original poster says, I guarantee they are not. We do not have DoorDash here. Edit. Being downvoted because we don't have DoorDash? Really? Dude, that's so stupid. Wow. Reddit a cesspool. Reddit's basically like slightly more intellectual Twitter. Underneath that, it says, where do you live that you don't have DoorDash? Even in Alaska, we have DoorDash. You know where Alaska is, right? You know where Alaska is, right? Underneath that, it says, you mean an American company even operates in an American state? Who woulda thunk it? Who woulda thunk it? And of course, in true Goblin fashion, the comment section was very talkative, and our first comment says, you ask them to get a passport and they tell you about another state of the USA they've been to. LOL. You couldn't write it. I actually have become more aware of how many Americans haven't left the United States at all, and it's kind of wild. The reason why a lot of, people from the United States think the way they do is because they haven't left their area code. They think the entire world revolves around where they grew up. Explains a lot of the defaultism posts I've been seeing. But this next comment, to be fair, that we don't have that here is annoying to follow up. Here? Where? Should someone say, oh yeah, where you live? Europe? Oh, okay. LOL. Boring and too much time in between. That's why I commonly say where I'm from in advance as a courtesy to the one reading me. Absolutely. Like we don't have that here. We don't know where here is, bruh. If you're on the internet, we don't know where that is. Now, in context, if you're talking to someone in person and you're clearly in the same vicinity, then when you're referring to here, we're all assuming that you're talking about the same place everybody in the group is occupying. But on the internet, you're gonna have to be a little bit more specific because we don't know where you're at. Now, it depends again on the circumstance too, because you could be in a thread or a themed chat or whatever where everyone's from the same location. So in those situations, that's a little bit different. But when you're in a generalized discussion thread of some sort, then yeah, no one's gonna know where you're talking about because here could be anywhere. That being said, we got another comment to look at. We have DoorDash in Australia. Honestly, I'm surprised. I did not think that DoorDash didn't exist outside of the US. I mean, a lot of places have Uber that are outside of the US as well. So I'm like, oh, cool. I'm just shocked that they would use a company that I'm pretty sure spawned in the United States. I thought every country had their own like more efficient DoorDash service. This next post says, apparently Ditto Elizabeth Bell, a black woman born in the British West Indies and raised in England, is African American. The painting isn't even of her. I can't say I'm surprised. But here's what the post says. This woman is Ditto Elizabeth Bell Lindsay. She is one of the first black women to be a free property owning African American woman in England. Also the first black woman to be an aristocrat. Riddle me this, Batman. How is she African American if she's in England? I'm confused, bro. I'm confused. First comment says, the every black person is African American one really surprises and bugs me. It's just such an obvious mistake they make again and again and again. I swear to God, it's so annoying. We gotta stop this. If you're from America, you watching my video. Can we stop? Can we stop? Not every black person is African American. I'm at a loss of words, but this next comment probably feels the same way that I'm feeling because it says, a very Americanized Danish girl was visiting a mutual friend in London. As we walked out of a tube station, she commented, I never realized there were so many African Americans in London. Needless to say, my friend and I were in stitches. Yeah, I would have been like, what you mean there's so many Africans? You mean black people? You can say black people, because that's true. Yeah, like black people, are a hell of black people out here. I didn't know that, but like African Americans is crazy. Anyways, this next comment says, how was she African American if she was never American? That's what I'm saying. What the fuck? This next post is pretty interesting. It's a screenshot of a Twitter thread that actually says, also you posted this online. Online was invented in the United States. Okay. The comment underneath that says, Maria, Jesus fucking Christ. Tim Berners-Lee was British. I swear Americans worry me sometimes. Americans worry me sometimes, bro. It's crazy. Now that I've traveled a lot more, I feel like I have like a mirror I'm holding everywhere I go, and I'm like, I was doing these things. I was doing these things. I feel obligated to do more research on my free time when I look at stuff now. Before I just have an emotional reaction, let me just look into this real quick. And I still make mistakes. I make mistakes all the time. I mean, I'm human at the end of the day, but I'm trying to learn, man. I'm trying to learn because this is insane. It's annoying and it's just straight up ignorant, man. But the comment section has some stuff to say. And this comment right here says, USAians think they invented everything. Ain't that the damn truth? But the response to this comment, they haven't even invented stupidity, though we might consider that they have perfected it. Oh my God. They are cooking us, man. That's crazy. The next comment says, a British invented the internet in Switzerland, among other people from other nationalities, to contact with a Canadian inventor. I did not know that. I'm gonna do more research into that too, because that's pretty interesting. This next comment also says, not to nitpick, but Berners-Lee invented the World Wide Web, not the internet. See, that's why I said I want to do some research on this before I just blindly go into it like, oh, okay, I guess. This next post is in regards to the date format as it pertains to the United States and Europe. Okay. Oh yeah, and fuck the month, day, year format. Day, month, year format makes no sense. And then the comment underneath that is, it does make sense. Here's the diagrams to show you day, month, year, smallest time frame to biggest time frame. And then year, month, day, China, Japan, Korea, Iran, year, month, day, like the biggest to smallest. And then you have the United States, which is month, like mid-size, day, the smaller size, and year, biggest size. Like, don't make no fucking, like, what? We just want to be, we're basically the hipsters of the world. We're the hipsters of the world at this point. We just want to be so different. We just want to be so different. Now, the comment section obviously ate this individual up. The first comment actually says, today I learned English is only spoken by Americans. Oh. Okay. Why is the US so weird with their measurements? I know, we'd be measuring in duck, feet, cheeses, boxes. I know, everything but a metric unit. It's wild, bro. I don't know what new unit we're gonna come up with under this new administration, but man, it's about 3 Trumps high. This next comment says, on my uni app, it says there was an assignment due on the 6th of February. I was really panicking thinking I've let this assignment slip my mind, but no, in reality, the dumb app uses month, day format, and there's no way to change that. Oh my God. So it's actually the 2nd of June instead of the 6th of February. 10 out of 10 would recommend the heart attack. That I understand. The panic would be absolutely insane. Going to travel to America, for instance, and then you see this format in the United States, you're like, whoa, oh my God. Like, you're in school, you're like, okay, your assignment is due 0801, and you're like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. It's like, no. August 1st. You got until August 1st. And they're like, oh, what the fuck? Oh, okay, I guess. I got some time. Interesting. I almost had a heart attack. This next post will have you looking at us real crazy if the other ones haven't already. Let me go ahead and get rid of any ounce of faith you had in the United States by reading you off this post right here that says, is there a real BBC article? How did somebody else get BBC.com? The response is, of course it's a real article. Why wouldn't it be? And then the original person responds back saying, there's literally a spelling error in the title. In fact, the article is riddled with them. Memorize, neighborhood, flavor. Did they not even run this through spell check? Is it too much to ask for $1 billion news agency to hire an editor? Do they not check their articles at all before publishing them? No. Obviously, this is a poor attempt at a fake article. Maybe the website was hacked, I don't know. All the articles are full of spelling errors. It's not the real BBC website. Underneath this, another user comments, spelling is different in the UK. It's actually the original version of English before the US came along and started changing up the spellings. Memorize, neighborhood, and flavor are correct in British English as per the Oxford Dictionary. It only takes 5 seconds to look it up to avoid coming off as a complete moron. And then another user responds with a slam dunk saying, no, Jesus fucking Christ, it's 2025 and the UK is still using Shakespearean English. That's not a cultural difference. That's refusing to change for the sake of being quirky. Just use normal English. And mind you, I said slam dunk, and I was being facetious because we had so many bouts of just dumbassery in this thread. Oh my God, the possibility of a word being spelled differently and being right is just like foreign. But there were comments that obviously had some stuff to say, a lot of stuff to say. Oh boy, wait for them to learn that Shakespeare in English is quite noticeably different. Yeah, you don't want to bark up that tree, big fella. We are cooked. That won't even compute. This next comment says, how the fuck does he still have positive upvotes? Oh, it's because we operate in packs. We don't move alone. And this next comment here says, and the stupid comment has 21 upvotes, while the comment sanely pointing out different spelling in British English has 5. They just run around in circles feeding their own ignorance and stupidity. There is no telling them. They won't believe you. I'm telling you, it's futile trying to tell us anything. There are obviously a lot of Americans that are willing to learn, but based on how our society is structured, it is almost encouraged to not learn as much as possible. Okay, believe what you see at face value. That's what you'll see a lot in the United States of America. Yeah, as you've probably seen, that's the theme of these posts. This next post here is crazy. The amount of comments I got on my post where I mentioned that I'm 18 and in med school asking if I meant pre-med is crazy. There's context behind this, by the way. There's always context. Let me give you the context. Pretty much all of them deleted their comments once they realized that no, I didn't mean pre-med. We don't even have that where I live because I don't live in the United States. All of the people that asked me if I meant pre-med, I responded and said no. And then I asked them where they live. Guess where they all said? The United States. Boy, oh boy. And of course, you have this comment here. Big bold letters. Pre-med, you mean? Absolutely insane. And of course, the comment section was cooking. As always, y'all be cooking in the comment section. It says, I'm doing X. Oh, you mean thing that's before X? This always confuses me. Like, if someone tells you that they are in med school, it's likely that they are. Well, in med school. Why try to correct them? That's what I'm saying. Like, why? They gave you the answer already. Like, why are you trying to, what? My one brain cell is on life support. Oh my God. This next comment says, I've seen so many Am I the Asshole posts labeled fake because the original poster said they were doing a medical or law degree at 18 or 19. Amazing to not be able to imagine a world outside of your borders. Again, the way the United States of America is structured is to create the facade that everything inside of the United States is perfect and flawless. We don't have any issues. You know, once you travel a little bit, you start seeing the world a little differently. You start realizing the flaws of your origin country, some things you appreciate more from your origin country and some things that you don't quite appreciate. And then, you know, things that you appreciate with countries you're visiting. And it allows you to kind of entertain the idea of being more open-minded. And that's what I love the most about traveling. This next comment here, though, says, have been on the American side of the internet since I was 13. Yet, I still never understood what pre-med means. Like, yeah, pre-med, but what are you studying and at what age and where? That's just how our system is, man. That's just how our system is. There's pre-med and then medical school, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't understand it. I never did, actually. Notforme.com. Well, this last post here is quite refreshing. And of course, I mean that in the most diabolical way possible because it says, one American standing behind another. Very powerful. And you will not believe what the hell they are talking about. Let me just flash the image on the screen real quick. Jump scare alert. Yep, you saw what you just saw. You seen what you just seen. Yeah. They're insinuating that the man, the myth, the legend himself was American. Hey, yo, what the fuck? So of course I was very curious. I'm like, okay, what is the comment section saying? Because we're all curious. What are they gonna say? Y'all get very creative in these comments. So this comment here actually says, when the White House posts crap like this a week after the Pope died, you can expect anything from those morons. Yeah. But non-ironically, the new Pope is American, and the whole internet turned up. And actually, the new Pope is from Chicago as well. Oh man, just wait till you see my next video, because there's videos I have, footage of the reaction of the new Pope. This next comment says, this was one of my favorite versions, and it was hilarious how many missed the fact that it's not Jesus. Yeah, bro. This dude put Charles Manson above Donald Trump, and people ate that up. I'm not sure if you guys remember the meme that a lot of old people were believing for a while, at least from the United States, where it was Obi-Wan Kenobi as Jesus Christ. And people ate that up. And our final comment in this video says, those hands are moving ever so slowly toward that neck. And that is where we will end this video. If you guys have any crazy diabolical things that we have said to you guys, feel free to populate that comment section, because I love reading what you guys have to say about us.